What's up, Lakers Nation, and welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, your number one source for breaking news, exclusive rumors, and the most in-depth analysis on our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. Before we dive into what I'm about to share with you today, I need you to understand that what's brewing behind the scenes right now could fundamentally alter the landscape of the entire NBA. This isn't just another trade rumor or speculation piece. We're talking about a potential seismic shift that involves one of the most dominant big men in basketball, a player who has championship DNA running through his veins, and a scenario that could catapult the Lakers back into title contention faster than anyone anticipated. Here's what's been circulating in NBA circles over the past several days, and trust me, this information comes from multiple sources who have their ears to the ground. There's a situation developing with a Western Conference team that's struggling far more than anyone expected. They came into this season with championship aspiration, but injuries, inconsistent performances, and chemistry issues have derailed their campaign before it even got started. They're sitting with a disappointing record, and more importantly, there are serious questions being raised about whether their current core can actually compete at the highest level, especially when health concerns continue to plague their roster. Now, when a team with championship expectations falls flat like this, front offices start having difficult conversations. They start evaluating whether to stay the course or make bold moves to salvage their future. And when you have a generational talent on your roster, who's dealing with persistent injury concerns, who's entering the latter stages of his prime, and whose value might never be higher despite the health questions, that's when the NBA rumor mill starts churning. That's when general managers around the league start making phone calls, exploring possibilities, testing the waters to see what kind of package it would take to pry away a player of that caliber. The player I'm talking about is someone Lakers fans know extremely well. He's someone who has dominated the paint, protected the rim at an elite level, and shown the ability to take over games on both ends of the floor. He's a former champion, a perennial all-star, and the type of two-way force that every contending team desperately needs. But more than that, he's someone who has a unique connection to Los Angeles. Someone who understands what it means to wear the purple and gold. Someone who has unfinished business in this city. Before I reveal exactly who we're talking about and what kind of trade scenario could potentially unfold, let me walk you through why this makes sense from multiple angles. The Lakers are currently in a fascinating position. We have LeBron James still performing at an incredibly high level, defying father time and proving he can still be a championship caliber player. We have a solid supporting cast with players who can contribute in specific roles. But let's be honest with ourselves, Lakers Nation. Do we have the firepower to go toe-to-toe with the elite teams in the Western Conference right now? Do we have the dominant interior presence that championship teams require in the playoffs? Our frontcourt situation has been adequate, but not exceptional. We've seen flashes of brilliance, but we haven't had that consistent, game-changing big man who can dominate in the paint, protect the rim at an elite level, and create mismatches on the offensive end. That's the missing piece that separates good teams from championship teams. That's the difference between making the playoffs and actually competing for a title. And if there's an opportunity to acquire that kind of player, Rob Pelinka would be negligent not to explore it aggressively. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. The Dallas Mavericks are in crisis mode right now. They're due to 6 to start the season, which is absolutely catastrophic for a team that expected to compete for a championship. Injuries have decimated their rotation, and their star big man, who they were counting on to anchor their defense and provide consistent scoring, has once again dealt with health issues that have limited his availability and effectiveness. That star big man is Anthony Davis, and yes, I know what you're thinking. AD is currently with the Mavericks in this scenario, not the Lakers. But stay with me, because this is where the speculation gets fascinating. Multiple sources have indicated that the Mavericks front office is seriously evaluating all options moving forward. When you start a season into 6 and your highest paid player can't stay healthy, you have to ask yourself some tough questions. Is this core capable of winning a championship? Should we retool around our younger pieces and try to build something sustainable for the future? And most importantly, if Anthony Davis is available, what kind of return could we get that would set us up for long-term success? Enter the Los Angeles Lakers, a franchise that has always been aggressive when opportunities arise, a team that's in win now mode with LeBron James still on the roster, and an organization that has the assets and the willingness to make a blockbuster move. If it means competing for championship number 18, the fit is almost too perfect to ignore. Anthony Davis returning to Los Angeles, reuniting with LeBron James, playing for a franchise with championship expectations and the infrastructure to support a title run. It's the kind of storyline that the NBA thrives on, and it's the kind of move that could reshape the entire Western Conference landscape. So what would a trade package actually look like? This is where we need to get into the specifics, because any deal for a player of Anthony Davis' caliber would require significant assets. The Lakers would need to part with multiple rotation players, draft capital, and potentially some of our young talent. We're talking about a package that might include players like Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, and at least one future first-round pick, possibly more depending on how negotiations unfold. That's a substantial price to pay. But when you're acquiring a top 10 player in the league who's still in his prime and has proven he can be the best player on a championship team, you have to be willing to make sacrifices. Let me break down why this trade makes sense from the Lakers' perspective. First and foremost, Anthony Davis is one of the most dominant two-way big men in basketball. Even with the injury concerns, when he's on the court, he's absolutely elite. This season with Dallas, in his limited appearances, he's averaging 20.8 points, 10.2 rebounds, 1.6 steals, and 1.2 blocks per game while shooting 52% from the field. Those are all NBA caliber numbers, and they demonstrate that when healthy, AD is still operating at an incredibly high level. His offensive rating of 113 and defensive rating of 105 show that he's positively impacting the game on both ends of the floor. On offense, he gives you versatility that's almost impossible to find. He can play in the post, he can step out and hit mid-range jumpers, he can run the pick and roll at an elite level, and he's become a more reliable three-point shooter over the years. Defensively, he's a game changer. His ability to protect the rim, switch onto guards on the perimeter, and disrupt passing lanes makes him one of the most valuable defensive players in the entire league. Now imagine pairing that level of production with LeBron James. We've seen this movie before, Lakers Nation, and we know how it ends. When LeBron and AD are both healthy and clicking, they form one of the most unstoppable duos in basketball. They won a championship together in 2020, and that wasn't a fluke. That was two generational talents complementing each other perfectly, covering for each other's weaknesses and elevating their games in the biggest moments. Bringing that partnership back together, with both players still capable of performing at an elite level, would instantly make the Lakers championship favorites. But let's address the elephant in the room. The injury concerns with Anthony Davis are real and legitimate. He's dealt with various ailments throughout his career, and his availability has been inconsistent at times. However, I would argue that the Lakers are actually the perfect environment for managing those concerns. We have one of the best medical staffs in the league. We have experience managing load for veteran players, and we have the depth to give AD rest during the regular season so he's fresh for the playoffs. The championship window with LeBron is closing, and you don't worry about what might happen in 5 years. When you have a chance to compete for a title right now, from Dallas' perspective, this trade would give them the opportunity to retool around their young core and build something sustainable for the future. They'd be acquiring multiple rotation players who can contribute immediately, along with draft capital that allows them to continue building through the draft. For a team that's clearly not working with its current construction, hitting the reset button and acquiring assets might be the smartest play, even if it means moving on from a superstar. The timing of this potential move is also crucial. We're approaching the trade deadline, which means teams are evaluating their rosters and deciding whether to buy or sell. The Mavericks, with their disappointing start, might be more inclined to make a move now rather than waiting until the offseason, when AD's value could potentially decrease further if the injury concerns persist. For the Lakers, making a move sooner rather than later gives the new pieces time to gel and develop chemistry before the playoff push. Let's talk about how Anthony Davis would fit into our current system. JJ Redick has implemented an offensive scheme that emphasizes ball movement, three-point shooting, and attacking the paint. AD would be the perfect centerpiece for that system. He can operate as a roll man in pick-and-rolls with LeBron. He can post up against smaller defenders, and he can space the floor when needed. Defensively, having AD anchoring our paint would transform us from a good defensive team into an elite one. His rim protection would allow our perimeter defenders to be more aggressive, knowing they have that safety valve behind them. The psychological impact of this move cannot be overstated either. Bringing Anthony Davis back to Los Angeles would send a message to the entire league that the Lakers are all in on competing for a championship right now. It would energize the fan base. It would give LeBron James another legitimate shot at adding to his legacy. And it would make Crypto.com Arena one of the most intimidating venues in basketball again. That kind of momentum and belief can be just as valuable as the on-court production. Now, I want to be realistic about the challenges this move would present. We'd be giving up quality rotation players who have contributed to our success this season. Austin Reaves has developed into a really solid two-way player, and Rui Hachimura provides versatility and scoring punch. Losing those pieces would hurt in the short term, and there would be an adjustment period as we integrate AD back into the system. But when you have a chance to acquire a player of Anthony Davis' caliber, you make that move 10 times out of 10. You can find rotation players through the buyout market, through minimum signings, through player development. You can't find generational talents like AD on the trade market very often. The financial implications are also worth considering. Anthony Davis is on a max contract, which would impact our salary cap flexibility moving forward. However, given that we're already in win-now mode and committed to paying LeBron James, adding another max player doesn't fundamentally change our financial situation. We'd still have the ability to add minimum players and potentially use trade exceptions to continue improving the roster. The luxury tax bill would be substantial, but ownership has shown a willingness to spend when we're competing for championships. Lakers Nation, I'm genuinely excited about the possibility of this move happening. I know there are risks involved. I know the injury concerns are real, but I also know that championship windows don't stay open forever. LeBron James is 40 years old and still playing at an MVP level, but we don't know how much longer that will last. If there's an opportunity to pair him with another superstar and make a legitimate run at the championship, we have to take it. That's what Lakers basketball is all about. We don't play it safe. We don't settle for mediocrity. We go on when we have a chance to compete for banners. The next few weeks are going to be absolutely crucial. Trade deadline is approaching, and if the Mavericks continue to struggle and the Lakers continue to show they're legitimate contenders, this deal could gain serious momentum. Rob Pelinka has proven he's willing to be aggressive in the trade market, and if he believes Anthony Davis can be the missing piece that puts us over the top, I have full confidence he'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. So here's what I want from you, Lakers Nation. Do you think the Lakers should pursue Anthony Davis if he becomes available? Would you be willing to give up players like Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura, along with draft picks, to bring AD back to Los Angeles? Do the injury concerns scare you, or do you believe the potential reward is worth the risk? And most importantly, do you think an AD and LeBron reunion could lead to another championship? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below because I genuinely want to hear how you feel about this potential blockbuster move. This is the kind of decision that could define the next chapter of Lakers basketball. This is the kind of move that could cement LeBron's legacy in Los Angeles and bring us championship number 18. The pieces are there. The opportunity might be there. And now it's up to Rob Pelinka and the front office to make it happen. I'm optimistic. I'm excited. And I truly believe that if we can pull this off, we're going to be cutting down nets in June. If you enjoyed this deep dive into a potential franchise-altering trade, if you want to stay ahead of all the latest Lakers news and rumors before anyone else, then I need you to smash that like button right now, subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We're here every single day bringing you exclusive content, insider information, and the most detailed analysis you'll find anywhere. This is your home for everything Lakers, and I'm grateful to have you as part of this community. Share this video with every Lakers fan you know. Get the conversation started about whether we should go after Anthony Davis. And let's manifest this trade into reality together. The future is bright, Lakers Nation, and I can't wait to see how this all unfolds. Until next time, stay loyal, stay purple and gold, and let's go get banner 18 Lakers for life.